Hey there, YouTubers. Right, so in this video, I'm going to install the Intel i3-13100f. All right, just got this. Looks like we need a little more light. Now, I'm also going to, I don't know if you'd say simulate it, but we will, plug in some of your case connectors as well as power supply connectors, RAM, M.2. All right. So realistically, folks, what I would say is you just want to do the basic inputs and connections and all that stuff, just to get it fired up, make sure it's working. But in this case, we're going to assume everything's going to work fine, and we're going to walk through the majority of the connections that you need. All right, so first thing we do, folks, is we're going to install our CPU. All right, and we're going to open this up, pull this back, and we're going to pull that back again. All right, so you may not have noticed it, but there's a little triangle here. All right, and then it looks slightly different on that side. This black cover has a triangle as well. Print wise, reading left to right, right? The left side of this is basically, hey, here's the I/O shield over here, and your left side of the print should be on that side, right? CPU can go in only one way. I can't turn this 180 degrees, and so let me make sure you guys can see that. We drop this in nice and gently, and then just kind of run your hands around the perimeter. The green board should be basically at the same level as the gray frame is, right? Now, directions say, leave the cover on till it snaps off. Quite honestly, if you decide to take the cover off now, not that big a deal. You will find on some of these motherboards that this action to get this thing down is a little more violent at times, but in that case, it popped off nice and easy. Now, sometimes, honestly, the CPU can get reset. I always like to check to make sure nothing happened. If that CPU were to move, you could end up damaging it. And then we're going to move our lumbar arm down, and boom, that's in place. All right, easy enough. Now, CPU cooler. In this video, I'm going to do the stock CPU cooler. You'll see me do a different one in the future. And what we want to do really is, here is our CPU fan header. All right. So I could honestly install this like this and run it over there, or we could make it as close as possible. Use some cable ties later on, which won't be shown in the video, but then drop that in. All right. So don't do this on a hard surface. You can damage the ends of these. And oh, by the way, when you first use this, it does have thermal paste on it. All right. All right. So what I would recommend, folks, is actually slightly cocking the motherboard up a little bit, lining all your pins up, and you will find that you might get them to pop in and one pops out. Don't worry, just go back and pop again. All right, so I'm going to try and do these diagonally. We're going to go ahead and press down here. I don't know if you guys can see that, so let's move the camera. and then we want to go diagonal to this other one. And so most of the time they snap. I can feel it on the other side, but there was no snap. I'm going to press this one. That's what you want to hear. All right. So we're going to flip this over and take a look. Do they all look like they actually popped in good? So 3 out of 4 did. And sometimes, folks, you will get a bad motherboard, but or not bad motherboard, but bad CPU cooler. And so the problem really was there. This needed to be rotated to the right. And now they're all good. All right. Now, not necessarily a good idea to, keep going up and down like that with this thing, but for the sake of this video, if they're not snapped in and you flipped over like that, the fan could fall out and land somewhere. All right, 4-pin, and I'm gonna, you should do this on the table, but I'm gonna lift this up so hopefully we can get you a better view. And this can go in only one way, okay? And voila, that's in. Now, like I said, some kind of cable tie. You don't want that to get into your fan. All right. Now, lots of things we could do now. We could install a RAM. We could do the M.2. Let's go ahead and do RAM. So I would recommend when you first do this, 1 stick of RAM, not all 4, okay? Just in case one of the sticks of RAM is bad. Or potentially you could screw up 4 times installing this. Why is that? If you don't seat the RAM all the way, and it's not hard to do, all right? So you want to hear pretty much a double click. Now Gigabyte, these guys both release like that, all right? So if you had just 2 sticks of RAM, you would go in A2 and B2, all right? Since we have 4, we'll fill all these. Now, to start off with, you honestly would want to just do this first one, all right? And we want to hear a double click. And if you do it perfect, they will blend together. All right, so for most of you, maybe you're just doing 1 pair of RAM, right? But in our case, now we're going to fill A1 and B1 as well. Since I had 4 sticks, I could have started here, 1, 2, 3, 4. But I wanted to show you guys if you had 2 sticks where you would put it, all right? Now, so these are all in good. If one was not, you could easily look at that and go, hey, that one's not seated. All right, 1 out of 4. All right, let's go ahead and put our M.2 in. Whoa, so I almost knocked over the camera stand. For this, probably a little electronic screwdriver. All right, so you want to remove this. A lot of times, folks, in the videos, you'll actually see me leave this on because I'm probably gonna, resell this a lot sooner than you would think. Matter of fact, if it wasn't for there's only 1 BIOS update out there, I think, for this, I'd probably already have this thing sold. All right, so you saw how the RAM went in there, and now we want to tighten this down. Now that moved around a little bit. That kind of scares me. All right, so that's in. To be honest with you, this is one of the last things you want to install, folks. You want to get this computer to boot to BIOS, all right? I showed you the M.2 mainly so you know how to do it. There's also another spot over here for another M.2. Don't ask me how this thing works. I'm not really sure, so we'll leave that up to hopefully the instruction manual. So honestly, this is looking pretty good so far. Now, you hopefully at this point have installed your power supply, all right? So let's go ahead and act like we're going to install power to this thing. I'm going to bring the connectors over. Now, of course, this is in a case, so these connectors are going to come up through holes in the case. But for the sake of the video and to make my life easier, we're just doing it this way. So this thing can go in only one way, all right? There is a tab here sticking out. This thing clicks on it, and you need to make sure you get all these pins in. All right, and boom, that's in. So this 24-pin ATX powers your motherboard, all right? Next thing we're looking for off your power supply, hopefully it's labeled if you have EVGA. It's going to say CPU, 2 4-pins, all right? Let's rotate this around so you can see it. And these guys go in here, all right? Same thing, it can go in only one way. Boom. All right. Now you would have power to this motherboard, but you don't have a power switch turned on. You could use actually a flathead, but that's another story. So we're simulating that you've got this in a case, all right? Now you guys are not going to disconnect the power supply like I'm going to do, but I want you to be able to see the other stuff. So we're going to get that out of the way. So though you would make those connections and keep them connected. Now let's talk about the other stuff. Your case most likely has a USB 3.0 connector, and so you want to connect this into the header for that. This can go in only one way. Notice there's a little protrusion here and a knockoff here. All right. And I don't think I'm giving you guys the best camera angle, so let's adjust. All right, so protrusion here, cut out here, and this guy fits right in there. All right, boom. Nothing else over here that we want to look at. So I'm actually going to disconnect this, but you would leave that connected. Now, you know, the order of these is not necessarily important. When you're down to that point where you're going to do the installation and you need everything connected. All right, so HD audio, notice there's a pin missing on here. That's got to go right in here, and you want to make sure you're coming in 90 degrees to the motherboard. All right, and be gentle, and boom, that's in. All right, now I'll leave that in for a moment. What looks very similar to that is your USB 2.0 header right here. Okay, hopefully it says USB on it, and you may end up using one of these for Wi-Fi, but let's just go ahead and grab the first one. Missing pin over here. Okay, notice the missing pin there. I want to make sure that that goes in. All right, and voila. For some reason it doesn't look like it's in. And now it's in. All right. So you've got to be careful with those things. All right, so I'm going to remove these. All right, folks, so if you are just, trying to fire your computer up, there is only one of these that you need to connect right away, and that is the power switch. Let me move this over a little bit. That's reset switch. HDD. And there's the power switch, okay? So, second row, and hopefully you can read this down here. Second row, third and fourth pins is where this goes, all right? Now, looking at this, next to it is power LED, all right? And this is important. This one's important how you put in. So I'm going to try and zoom in here. So you can see plus and minus, all right? The one on the left has to be plus, and the one on the right is negative. And let's see if this will focus. So you want to come in and have these lined up like so. And I missed. This is hard to do sometimes. Sometimes they pop on easy. All right. So we got positive, negative. Now I've got a bit of tension in my cables because the case is too far away. One of these days I'm going to cut these off. All right, so HDD, positive, negative. And this one, doesn't really matter. We're going to do text facing outwards. And that goes in the first two pins. Boom. All right. Finally would be your reset switch. And we're going to drop that in right here. And now, folks, if everything's good, should be able to hit the power button on your computer and fire this thing up. But that is that's going to do it for this video, folks. Thanks for checking it out. I hope it was useful. Please like, please subscribe. Thank you.